good morning. So it feels a bit retro to be showing a website amongst all these apps, but Houghton Mifflin is all about inspiring curious learners, and Curious George is curious, as everyone knows. Houghton had an existing website for Curious that was really product-oriented and wanted to do something for kids, so we designed this for preschoolers, so I'll get right into it. It's organized by themes. Good. All right. That was working.
Oops.
Green arrow. George is curious about colors and shapes. If you're curious too, select the green arrow.
So it's organized around themes, and as the theme changes, and so there's always a big illustration for the theme, and there's things that you can click on for the theme. And if you do select the green arrow, it'll go automatically into a game or video related to that theme. So in this case, it'll be a video.
Why, I'm curious. Shape.
Do you see this shape?
Circle. There's a circle.
Like a wheel, like a pie, round and round, that's why.
Circle. Great shape.
Can you see? Check it out.
Colors and shapes.
If you want to do other things related to the
I'm
theme.
glad you're curious, just like George. Find out more about colors and shapes by choosing any of these videos, games, stories, or activities.
So we've organized content by theme that's also available on the site, but it gives you a way to track through based on the theme that you might be curious about. And then there's a little pop-up window for parents, so they don't necessarily have to go wandering around to a parent section. They can just find something that they can do with their kids right there related to the themes. And then there's a game tied to that where they're collecting balloons of colors and shapes. There's a Curious George ebook. There's another game that's sorting. There's a paint a game in the video. But if you don't want to do something by the theme, you can go right to games. You can
Stories. Create.
So we have a lot of rollover audio, but we also have the mute button because
Colors and shapes. Games.
you can get annoying.
Games.
Click on one of the buttons below. To try something else, pick one of the buttons at the top, or click on Curious George to go back to the home page.
So we've just started. The site is still in somewhat of a beta. The official launch will be in mid-March, but we're populating the games. They are developed tied to themes and tied to Head Start frameworks and outcomes. And they're also, one of the goals of the site was to make it snackable. And we don't really want kids to be on the site for a super long time, so the games are pretty quick. Take maybe 2 to 4 minutes to play.
Stories.
Want to hear a story? Choose one of the buttons below. To try something else, pick one of the buttons at the top, or click on Curious George to go back to the home page.
So the stories will load and they'll read to you, or you can
Curious
read the
George.
story.
Curious color.
And then the
What
other
are
thing,
you curious about? Click one of the buttons below.
you can also interrupt the audio if you want to get to something. So in our Curious About section, this is where all
What
the
are
themes.
you curious about?
Colors and shapes.
This is why we have the mute button.
Zoo animals. Halloween. Colors and shapes. Coming soon.
So we lay out the themes that we've already had, and then if kids want to explore the topics by
What
themes,
are
they can
you
do that.
curious about? Click one of the buttons below to begin exploring.
Right.
To try something else, pick one of the buttons at the top, or click on
So you can go to zoo animals, and then you can see these are the games and activities that are related to zoo animals. In a video, you can go back to any of the other themes, and again, there's the pop-up button for parents. And then back at the home page, we also have content for adults with drop-down menus. So this will lead to other activities that parents can do or that teachers can do. And then the products. If people want to buy products, they can buy DVDs, etc. So we're just starting to put this out there. Kids are starting to come to it, but again, the big promotional push will be in mid-March, and we'll have more content on the site then. Questions? Well, it's designed for both, but it's also, all the audio is there
Like
for kids, so that they can do it on their own. But there is content for parents on the site for them, and with both in the drop-down and then in the Curious section.
I was just curious, if the labels beneath the images that were very child-focused were adult-focused, so in terms of their size and type.
These labels, the game?
No, like when you go into games, the
Yeah,
labels underneath.
yeah, but there's a rollover voiceover on those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I give it a quick critique?
Sorry. I just have more of a quick comment. We share the same voiceover guy, Paula Birdie.
Oh, okay.
So did you find that working with different voice tones that really helps enhance, especially some that can do the monkey voices, couldn't do
Yes.
the monkey sounds too?
Yeah, I mean, and I also tried with these, I tried that one a lot, but,
Games, stories, create.
so I put kids' voices on as well, and the games and activities all have kid voices for the title to try to make that friendly, but then in the opening is a different voice talent because I didn't want it dominated by one voice. You know, the man in the yellow hat is kind of your host, but I also felt kids would like to hear other voices and a range of them. So.
A quick thing on voice talent. I had Matthew about 3 months ago. He upgraded an app. He's waiting for a download. He finally downloads. He's like 1 minute, and I hear him go, "Finally, they're paying for some professional voice talent." So it makes a difference. Any other comments?
I got one. I just want to beat up on you a second, if you don't mind.
That's okay.
Great way to
That's
start.
okay.
The first menu there, how would you change it? First of all, I want to see a 5-star Curious George product. You know, like 30 I've reviewed. I think it's been one that I like. So I like Curious George is curious. And so first thing on the main menu, the paint and everything, there's a lot of graphics and so on that you want to touch. If you touch the shapes up on the corner, like the circle, does anything happen?
Yes, and actually in
All right, good, you're fine.
in the future, but I do want to add something about that one because I don't like the fact that kids don't know something's going to happen. So in the future ones, when you roll over, touch, they will highlight. So there's a birthday one's coming
All right.
up. There's a birthday cake. If you roll your mouse over,
That's
it'll
great.
light up.
Thank you for that. What about paint and stuff over there? Does that do something?
Well, what we want to do is have some kind of ambient animation on each one so that kids know that there is something that they can do with this. So in each one, there's also ambient animation.
So what I would suggest for feelings of ownership is it's off by default. And then when you click it, it turns on and splashes. So you start paint. It's a minor touch, but it lets
Well, it's interesting. When I looked at this yesterday, I thought we should have had the paint be the clickable one.
Yeah.
And other ones, like the birthday candles, are just, you know, they're flickering, but then you can blow out, you can have George blow out the candles. So I think that was more successful as an ambient, and I think you're right that this one would have been better to make that happen.
The other comment's more of a bigger one, and that is, I've never met a child who's curious about colors and shapes. You know, I want a Curious George that is curious of, like the way Fred Rogers, like I wonder how crayons are made. What I would suggest is to go out and interview 10 kids like yesterday at Media Tech and say, what are you guys curious about? You know, of the age range, of younger. What are you really curious about? And then to have Curious George go and actually find those things and you know, get the real information. But that would get a high rating from me.
All right, that's great. And you know, including things like zoo animals and puppies and pets and things which I think are probably more
Yeah.
spot on, and birthdays. So, but you're right, this is more like a preschool unit of colors and shapes.
Thank you for taking my feedback. You do want lasers?
Sure, I guess what I'd like, one of the goals here was really to make it, and I should say also this was done in HTML5, so it's designed to play across different platforms and devices. So what I'm curious about to know, I guess, is in terms of making this a very kid-focused, kid-friendly, kid-usable site, and kid-appealing, how well is it doing in that level?
So is that what we want?
Yeah.
Okay, get your lasers out, please. Would you please? I'll break it down to one Sean?
Get a feeling useful.
Get a feeling useful. Let's say if you're training positive, 6.38, or 7. Scott?
Yeah, more 7.
Yeah, 7, 2-ish.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Next up,